morning. Got a haircut. Feel better. So we called it quits last night. Now we're back at it. You guys saw where we left off. We got the rings. We talked about the door fitment of the tweeter, the door. I'm going to go ahead and build a jig and go ahead and router these. Go ahead and get this reattached. Get this door on, and then I'm going to repeat the same process over there. I'm going to remove the factory grill and router out the factory door panel, so we're getting the maximum sound out of the 8-inch mid bass. So that's what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and whip up a jig real quick and get some, I think, some 1/2-inch material and make something to fit here. We can tape this up and glue it and go ahead and router it out. So I'll go ahead and do that now, and then we can go ahead and get this door reassembled. Another part that has to happen is the whole back of it needs to be sound treated, so we also have to do that as well. So we've got quite a bit of things to do. My goal for now is to get the 2 front doors done, and then I'm going to, we had a little change of plans. Customer wants to do some type of high resolution streaming, so we're going to add a Mosconi controller probably to this area up here. So we got to figure out how we're going to do that. So doors, center console, and then we can put the front seats in. We can start getting this thing 100, get it all back together, and to the point where I can build the sub enclosure. I can't build the sub enclosure yet because I don't have any seats, and so we have quite a bit to do. You guys saw we got the back doors on. Those are all done. We got the roof speakers in up top, so the 3.5 WMs in the top of the roof, 6 WM in the back door, and then 8.3 tweeter in the front. So we're jamming, and we're gonna go work on these doors now. So let's go into the fab shop, whip up a template, and get these doors routed out and start getting everything back together. All right, we got the door panels. You guys saw we got this routed out. So just cleaned up that edge. It was barely anything that we had to cut off, but just wanted that to be a nice clean edge. So we routed that. Found some screws, mounted the tweeter grill back onto the door right here. Once you take the hot welds off, they're like little tubes that come off this panel. So number 8 screws, 1/2 inch, we cut them down actually to screw that back in place. So 5 screws mounted in there super tight, so that's awesome. So that's back together. Now I'm going to sound treat the back of the door, and then once we're done sound treating, we have to grab the OEM grill and go ahead and reattach the OEM grill to the panel. So one thing after the next, but we're getting this thing done. So we're gonna speed this up and get the treatment done, and then we'll glue the grill back on, and that'll be basically everything that we did to the front doors. And then I'll go ahead and get the other side done, and we can start working on getting the center console and the rest of the car back together. All right, guys, we got the grill pushed back in place, and now we're gonna use some epoxy panel bond, and we're gonna go ahead and get this we're gonna just put some panel bond right over top of the spots where the spot weld was, all the way around. So I'm gonna put some in between there. Try to get these grills from factory do rattle a nice amount, so we need to make sure that we get the grill secured as well. It's kind of just loose in there from factory, but I'm gonna put some of this panel bond down inside of these little areas to get a better bond. So that's it. Now this is just going to sit here and dry, and this is going to sit here and dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and then I'll go ahead and pull the factory grill off the other side, go ahead and trim the opening. We'll test fit it on the door, then we'll trim the opening, and then we'll go ahead and we'll do the same process to the next door. These will have to dry for 4 or 5 hours, I think. So we'll move on to something else before we put these doors on, like get the seats in and center console and stuff. So good morning, everybody. Back on the RAM TRX. You saw where we left off. We got all the doors put back on the vehicle. Now we got to get the rest of the interior put back in. We got to get the radio put back in the dash. We got to get the A pillars, B pillars, C pillars, floor compartment pieces, center console, radio. We have a lot of things to put back together. We got everything, all the equipment situated. Actually, we still need to get the dash. We gotta get this dash speakers left and right put in. But other than that, it's basically just getting this thing back together completely so we can get the enclosure built. What we're gonna do now, just get all the tools and stuff out of here. Got a messy tool cart full of tools I've been using. So we'll just grab all these tools out of here. Make sure we have a clean area to work. So I'm just going to speed this up and go ahead and get this interior put back together. Okay, got A, B, and C pillars, or actually not A pillars yet. We still got to put the dash. So now we're going to work on the dash. Got to get the dash speakers in left and right, and then we also have to get the we put the radio in. We snap that in place. Got to do the left and right dash, and then we can do the A pillars back in place. I'm going to switch gears for a second. I have to mount the Mosconi controller. Got a Mosconi controller here, but I'm gonna slide this in place. I'm thinking about putting the controller right here in this vicinity here in front of this pocket. We're gonna see how that's gonna work. Might have to do something custom to get it mounted here. I kind of want to make sure it's reversible. I'm gonna drill a hole in this pocket. Hopefully we can get this controller mounted in this vicinity here. So I'm gonna work on that. I got to get this console cleaned off, get it positioned in the vehicle. We can run the wires up. We also have an RCA that the customer wanted ran for a high-res player, so we got that up here too. I got to figure out what to do with where that cable is going to come out. So another little obstacle, but it's good. This is kind of a last-minute thing, change of plans. So we were just going to do a bass knob, but now we're going to do a controller. So got to figure that out. I think this will be a good spot, but it might be uncomfortable for adjusting the sub level, but let's get it positioned in the vehicle and see what we're gonna do. So got to get that slid in. It's actually pretty easy. It's just a couple bolts and it slides right in, so, and plugs right in, so it's super easy.
What we're living in, let me tell ya.
Alright, so we have a couple more things to do in the front of the vehicle here. We got the center console pushed in, got some things prepped here. Got the driver's seat in, so I can actually sit in here comfortably and do these last two things. Also wanted to have the driver's seat in so I could kind of see where this Mosconi controller is going to sit. Make sure it's going to be comfortable to reach while you're sitting in this seat, which it's perfectly great. I reach. The guy's tall, so the controller is going to go down in this area down here. Super simple. I made a all we're going to have to do is basically put some double-sided tape on the back of this, and we can stick it right to this area covering this pocket. We drilled a hole in the top of the pocket to run the cable through, and it actually fits perfectly. I don't have to cut anything or mess this up at all. I'm just going to put some tape on the back of here, and it'll just tape right in place. The wire will tuck right into the pocket, covers the pocket completely. It's actually a perfect fit. So we're going to do that, and also we're going to go ahead and pull this mid-range location. We're going to pop this out with a pry tool, and we're going to go ahead and swap this last mid-range driver here on the dash. As you guys saw previously, we had to machine down these 3.5 WMs to fit into the dash location. It's installed over there on the passenger side already, off camera. Sorry guys. It fits, it plugs right in. We have a Molex connector here on the end, and a Molex connector here ran to the amplifier. So we're going to go ahead and get this popped out, get this mid-range installed in this location, and go ahead and get some two-sided tape installed on the back of the controller and get these things mounted.
When things are big that should be small, who can tell what magic spells we'll be doing for us? And I'm giving up my life to this world, only to be told I can see, I can breathe.
Alright, so we got that 3.5 WM. You guys can see it fits down in that dash location perfectly. And this grill will fit. We are gonna have to, this driver is kind of blocking. Hold this camera so you guys can see. This little tab right here needs to be modified. It needs to be thinned out, basically cut from this side over, from the left side of this tab over a little bit, because we've kind of covered up that hooking tab location here in the dash. So we're gonna go modify this little tab here, and then this grill will be able to fit right back on. To be honest with you, this thing is in there really nice. There's no space around it really. I believe it's sealed off very well. But yeah, we got this right here. We're gonna go make the modification that we need to make to this tab, and we'll go ahead and get it snapped in, and then we'll pull this off, take this and put the tape on here and get this installed and get this grill on. So, and then we'll be done with the front, and then we can go ahead and get the passenger seat in. Here's my stand for my camera. Get that seat in and go ahead and get the back seats in. But first, in the back, we'll have to trim the factory carpet panel to fit back in there first, and then we'll go ahead and get that seat back in there. So super cool. I'm excited. We're getting very close to actually being able to hear this thing. It's going to be a pretty epic system. It's 3.5 WMs across the dash, TBMs here in the stock door location where the tweeter is, 8 WM in the door, same on that side, and then we have 6 WMs in the back doors and 3.5 WMs up in the roof. So crazy amount of Utopia goodness. It's going to be pretty epic, so stay tuned and we'll get this thing finished up, and we'll tune it up and listen to it. Can't wait. Alright, so I got the tab ground down on the grill, so this should go right in there now, hopefully. We'll see. This will go kind of fit behind the driver, maybe. There we go. So bam, grill is on. You can see that driver through there looking amazing. So driver's installed. That was easy. We got to put this A-pillar on, which is just some 10mm bolts. Super simple. You actually do not have to take this out to get this out, but I always like to, because sometimes these grills will scratch the pillar when you pop it out. So got that, and then I got tape installed on the back of my controller, and I got some wax and grease remover. I'm going to go ahead and just wipe this area down, get this nice and clean on there, and we'll go ahead and get that stuck in place, get the controller connected to it. Be super nice. Got some rags here so I don't scratch the center console, all the carbon, none of that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get this tape pulled off and get this controller mounted. Alright guys, we got the controller mounted securely. It's actually very comfortable to get to when driving. Mainly it'll be used for sub-level and then volume of his external DAC. We got the dash A-pillar put back in, so basically our whole front end is together. Controller, speakers, doors, the whole 9 yards. Now we can go ahead and get this passenger seat in, and then we'll go ahead and get the back seat in. front seat first, and then we'll go ahead and trim this, cut this carpet piece to fit back here, and then we'll work on getting this back seat together completely 100% and start building the enclosure. Alright guys, we got the front seat, passenger front seat in. It all bolted up. Got to put the floor jack underneath there and some other trim parts. Got the controller, all the dash speakers, front seats. So now the whole front's together. Now we're going to go ahead and get this carpet panel, the factory OEM carpet panel. We're going to have to trim it. So this is going to take some thought and some measuring over and over again. We're going to measure 100 times and cut once. Get that fit back in here, so then we can go ahead and get these back seats put back in this vehicle, and then we can get to the fun part, making a really cool enclosure for this thing, for the Utopia 10WMs. So let's set this up, speed this up, and we'll go ahead and work on getting this carpet panel reinstalled into the vehicle. Alright guys, we got this back panel trimmed. Kind of went around the 430 and then we went straight across right above these three amplifiers. We got across these three amplifiers, and then it kind of straddles this 210 that's running the mid basses, but it still has plenty of clearance for the fans to exit the heat out of the amplifier. These magnets right here are factory. There's a little cover thing in the flip down. It has an armrest that flips down in the middle, so that's good. It's worked out really awesome. It's all fit back in here nice. All the clips are back in place. So good. Got our sub wires here. I'm going to grab a vacuum and go ahead and clean this area up, and then we can go ahead and get these seats put in. I already turned on the system and validated that all the channels are correct. You know, tweeters, mids, center, sub, the whole 9 yards, everything is good to go. So now we're just going to go ahead and put all the, we'll double check all the settings. These amplifiers have a thing called DSP Direct. Once they're in DSP Direct, it bypasses the gains and the filters in the amplifier. It lets us control the amplifier completely from the DSP. So we'll just make sure everything's in DSP Direct mode and go ahead and get these seats in. All right, awesome. We got the seats in. You guys can see the amp rack. Well, what's left of the amp rack. You can only really see the amps now. It's all covered up by this factory carpet panel that fits back there. And then this piece, it's like a magnetic cover, which still goes in place. Can't really see much back there now, which is great. It's all, looks all factory. We got full range of motion of the seats, which is great. These seats move like that, so and now it's latched. Cool. So we got the seats in, amps are in, seat flips up, got all this space under here, got our sub wires, perfect. So yeah, so we got it all back together. Got seats 100%, all the doors. We got some covers actually to put over there. Nathan just pointed that out to me. We got this panel, that piece, and this one over here. So we'll get those put back on, and then I think we'll be 100%. We'll go over it a couple more times before anything, but we'll throw these panels on real quick, and then we'll start designing and building an enclosure. Alexa, pause. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. All right, so bunch of stuff, bunch of parts. So we've done RAM enclosures in the past for 4 6.5 inch subs. So we basically have the outline of the enclosure. Which I cut out of chipboard. As you can see, it goes around these cubbies and it fits on the floor. It's basically the template. Conventionally, we just come straight up, build the enclosure. In this one, I'm going to go ahead and cut the enclosure out, and then I'm going to build a different top, because this enclosure comes kind of straight up and there's a void back here. I'm going to continue the top of the enclosure all the way back. So I'll have to, once I get this done, then I'll work on the top, the final trim piece, and make it look cool. Add some flavor to it, make it look nice, make it look a little more fitted into the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and get the machine running, cut out the enclosure on the CNC. We'll get it assembled, make sure the drivers fit, which they should if I measured right. But yeah, that's what's going on. I got it all laid out on the machine, or on the program to cut on the machine. So you guys can see this is all the layers. It's a bunch of just stacked enclosure, so a bunch of 3/4 inch rings left and right, and there's dowel pin holes being drilled and everything to position everything while we glue this thing together. So I'm going to go ahead and send this to the machine. I know there's parts running on the machine right now, but we'll get those pulled off, running some amp racks and stuff. So we'll get that pulled off, cleaned, change the tooling, and go ahead and cut this thing out. All right guys, we got the showed you on the computer in there, we have the enclosure ready to go. We got a piece of 3/4 inch MDF loaded on the machine. We got program loaded into the machine. Got all of our tools touched off, ready to go. So now we just turn on the vacuum system and press start. And that's it, now we wait. All right, we got the enclosure all CNC'd out, all the parts. Now we're gonna go ahead and clear off a workspace and start getting this thing together. Definitely gonna do something. This is just a basis. We're gonna try to do some cool stuff with this. So I'm gonna speed it up and start working on this thing, make it really cool. All right, guys, we got a enclosure coming together. See how this went. We got our left and right side rings that are stacked with dowels for alignment. So you do every other first row, first one, second one, first one, second one, all the way around, stack it up. Then we got our front and our back piece straights to fit in there. I'm gonna go ahead and take this over to the vehicle now and kind of figure out how we're gonna build our top. Because I want to extend the top out to cover and fit into the truck a lot better. So we're gonna go take the camera and take this enclosure over there and check it out. All right, so you saw we got this enclosure put together and we extended the top to go all the way back in underneath the seat to kind of fill the void and go around these mounts. The seat actually is adjustable, so the seat, I can't move it, and you guys can see that kind of moves forward and back, so this can get full range of motion still. Looks really nice. We're gonna go ahead and all right, let's circle back around here. So this is the carpet we're going to go ahead and use, which is a special dark graphite. It's a pretty solid match. It's not perfect, it's not 100%, but it's definitely better than straight black. Does a good job of matching the carpet underneath the seat as well. So we'll end up wrapping the perimeter of this box all the way around here with this, and then we'll also do this section in here, and then we're going to do a nice vinyl on the rest of this. So I think this is going to come out really cool. So I just wanted to show you guys the material choice that we're looking at. It actually looks different the way you hold it, because carpet does have a grain, so we just have to make sure that our grain goes down. It'll just be a lot more durable for people sitting back here. It won't be vinyl, it'll be a nice carpet finish and look really OEM. So that's the whole idea behind this. So carpet around the sides, a little bit of vinyl, a little bit of carpet, some two-tone action. I think it's gonna look awesome. All right, guys, I got most of the enclosure carpeted. Got this vinyl. It's kind of like a vinyl and carpet theme going on here. It's an inlay of carpet toward the back of the enclosure. I still have more to do. I got to finish carpeting the back of this, all this area here. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Get this thing 100% upholstered, and then we can go ahead and load the woofers. Already got wire holes for the wires. We'll go ahead and epoxy the wires in, put terminals, basically Molex plugs, so this enclosure will just plug into the vehicle. So I'm going to finish carpeting the rest of this, get it all looking perfect, and we'll get the woofers loaded and get this thing in the car.
She say that I'm cool. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I believe in G-O-D. Don't believe in